Alrighty, we are live. Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G-Lauren33, and I'm back here tonight with your SmackDown Live review and results for September 24th, 2019. As always, I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel, man. And, I'm happy that you guys are here. If you guys can't tell, man, I'm actually kind of excited for tonight's review. Tonight was a good show. Tonight, for the second straight week, actually, SmackDown Live has given us a good show. All right, it did its job. It built towards Hell in a Cell, and it gave us a reason to watch next week. I believe this is the last episode of SmackDown Live in its current format, because I don't think there's any episode of SmackDown Live next week. Because I think next Friday on October 4th, the big day, SmackDown's premiere on Fox, and I am very, very excited for it. I love the graphics that we've been seeing for SmackDown on Fox. It looks like they're trying to present WWE Smackdown on Fox as an actual sports show. All right, we know we're going to be getting they're going to be a little bit of a pre-show each and every single week before the show goes live. And then there's rumors saying they might do an after show. So it's going to feel like an actual sports broadcast, similar to what you see with UFC on Fox or, NFL on Fox or MLB. They're trying to make WWE Smackdown on Fox actually good. And, tonight they did a good job of that. They built towards next week's big SmackDown Live show. We got two big matches announced. We got Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston already for the WWE Championship. And we're getting the four horsewomen. They'll be clashing once again in battle. Becky Lynch and Charlotte will be going in the tag team action against Sasha Banks and Bayley just 2 days before the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I am very excited for this show, man. Very, very excited. SmackDown Live, like I said, it was a good show tonight. Definitely way better than Monday Night Raw was last night. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know if this is a Fox is getting on WWE officials, but SmackDown right now just feels a lot more fresh. It feels a lot more organic, and I'm actually enjoying what they're doing on SmackDown Live. SmackDown wasn't a perfect show. There's definitely some things I have to talk about, some things I'm gonna have to complain and go into mini rants about. But overall, tonight, SmackDown Live did its job. I enjoyed the show actually for a second straight week, and I'm liking it. I'm liking what I'm seeing. All right. Before we get into SmackDown Live tonight, I always got to get into the normal stuff, the little rundown. Last night we had the Monday Night Raw review. Terrible show. Even though there was a couple good things, we had that great fatal five-way that determined Seth Rollins is challenger for the Universal Championship next week on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. All right, we had that. We talked about that. We also talked about the great match we had. Not the great match. It was a really good match, though. The match we had between Sasha Banks and Nikki Cross, a match I personally enjoyed a lot. What else happened on that show? That was pretty much it, really. We talked about the Fiend continuing his stalking of Seth Rollins as they build towards their match at Hell in a Cell. And we talked about Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman and how both Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman are completely stale and garbage in the way they're presented right now. All right. So if you guys didn't check out the Monday Night Raw review, it is live on the channel. As always, make sure to go support that. As always, you guys can follow me on social media. The links are in the description down below. You guys know I love talking to you guys. All right. Just quick, couple housekeeping items. Next week's going to be a very busy week here on the channel. Very busy week. We're going to have our Monday Night Raw review. I have tons of Dragon Ball content being planned. Next week is Comic-Con week. So you guys already know I got some cool vlogs planned for that. Tuesday, I don't think there's going to be any SmackDown Live. So, I'll have some kind of video for you guys on that day. Usually I don't post a second video if I'm doing a Raw or SmackDown Live review, but we'll have to wait and see. On that. I'll let you guys know what I'm posting next Tuesday, but Monday we'll have the Raw review, the season premiere. We'll see if that thing is any any good. That is the Hell in a Cell go home show for Raw, and then Friday the big day SmackDown on Fox. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do it. I don't know if I'm going to do live reviews for SmackDown on Fox. Not sure if that's the way I'm going to do it. I might just do I might just do recorded SmackDown reviews after the show goes off the air, and then I might just premiere it and put it on that way. All right, Raw reviews will almost always be live. SmackDown on Fox reviews, that might be different, a little bit different, because usually, Friday nights my schedule is a little more busy. Tuesday nights I'm usually free, so I don't know how this is gonna work, but I'll let you guys know. All right, but definitely that's the way it's looking. And then next Sunday we have the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Like I said, I'm gonna have some Comic-Con footage for you guys, some vlogs, so can't wait about that. So, and Sunday night, Hell in a Cell live stream, live reactions. Can't wait for that show. And we're going to have the Hell in a Cell review right after the Hell in a Cell goes off the air. So definitely excited about that. I'm just sending a quick text before we get into everything. Sent. And yes, now, all right. Now, let's get into SmackDown Live, all right? I'm kind of excited to talk about this. So we're going to start off at the top and roll our way through. There was a lot that happened, actually. There was a lot of segments, a lot of matches tonight. We had the show started off with Eric Rowan coming out. We've seen the last couple weeks, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. I like the way they've been portrayed. Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, they're being portrayed as a dominant force in the SmackDown Live roster. They haven't been officially declared as the Bludgeon Brothers yet. Maybe WWE's waiting. Maybe we'll see the official return of the Bludgeon Brothers at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. But Eric Rowan came out and basically he started talking about how he loves destroying people, how his whole thing is basically annihilation. That's what he wants to be known for now. And, he's doing a good job. WWE's actually doing a decent job booking Luke Harper and Eric Rowan right now. I can't say this is going to continue, because I don't have that much confidence in WWE, but Eric Rowan, he gave his promo and basically saying he's going to continue his destruction on Luke Harper and Eric Rowan as long as he wants. All right. My boy Scott on Twitter just texted me. But yes, I'm looking at the Bleach Report's notes right now. This was the last episode of SmackDown Live in its current format. Or it's the last episode of SmackDown on Tuesday nights. All right. So the last 3 years, maybe I'll do a video on this later this week and we'll look back at the last 3 years of SmackDown Live. Remember SmackDown Live, the first episode. Actually, no. The first official episode of SmackDown Live was in July 2016, right after the draft. But SmackDown officially started airing on Tuesday nights on the USA Network on January 7th of 2016. So, maybe I'll do a video looking back at the last 3 years of SmackDown Live. There's definitely been some good to great moments, but there's also been bad moments. So maybe that will be a video I'll do. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys want to see that video later this week. All right. But this was the final episode of SmackDown Live in its current format. The last episode of SmackDown on Tuesday nights, as next week, October 4th, SmackDown on Fox, and everything is going to change, man. With the graphics, hopefully we get a new stage. I won't be mad if they bring back, the fifth stage from the old SmackDown way back in the early 2000s. But I'm actually kind of excited to see how SmackDown has a plan. Who knows? Maybe we'll get Pyro back. I miss Pyro. We only see Pyro really at like SummerSlam or WrestleMania. Hopefully they bring back Pyro, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, getting into it, back into Eric Rowan's promo, he stated that he was showing the might that made him right. He was happy with what he was doing to Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. And after this, we saw Daniel Bryan, and this is basically, it's confirmed. After tonight, Daniel Bryan is officially back as a babyface. I saw, over the weekend that at one of the house shows, Daniel Bryan was wrestling Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship, and they had a really good match, actually. But after the match, Daniel held up Kofi's hand, Basically, good sportsmanship. So this basically confirms that Daniel Bryan is back as a babyface. And I don't know. What up, Sean Franklin? Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. But the way they had it set is, I don't know if they're going to continue. It's clear that they're turning Daniel back into a babyface, all right, which I don't mind, all right? I never thought we would see Daniel as a heel, and he was great as a heel, all right? But what do you mean by I love cookies, Sleeping Angel? Daniel, trying to remember. Oh, yeah, but I never thought they would turn Daniel Bryan as a heel. Daniel Bryan was one of those guys. I thought the same thing about Shinsuke Nakamura. Daniel Bryan was one of those guys that you thought would never be turned heel because the Yes movement was just that popular. They would never boo him. And even as a heel, when he was, over most of the last year, because he turned heel, I believe, in November when he beat Styles and took the WWE Championship from him. It's been basically close to a year, about 10 months, right? I never thought that, Bryan would actually get booed. Bryan did get booed, but there was still a majority of fans that would do the yes chants. All right. But it seems like now with Bryan back as a babyface, the yes movement is coming back. All right. And, we'll get into that a little bit later because Bryan basically said the old Daniel Bryan's coming back because he mentioned the yes movement, and we'll talk about that in a couple moments. But Bryan marched down to the ring. He got a huge reaction. He demanded the fight. Basically, he says, Eric Rowan, if you want respect, you want these people to respect you, this or that, you want to be noticed, you want to be the spotlight, fight me right now. And basically, Eric Rowan basically said, all right, let's do this. All right, and this was a physical bout, man. I kind of like Eric Rowan's the way he fights in the middle of the ring. Sleeping Angels, I don't mind Daniel Bryan being a babyface. I loved Bryan as a babyface. He was easy to get into because he always had that underdog mentality. He was easy to get invested in, and I loved his character. All right, and I love Daniel Bryan the person. He's a great wrestler. I have no problem with Daniel Bryan being a babyface. Even though it doesn't make much sense that they're turning him back babyface, but I don't know. I honestly think that Daniel Bryan's probably getting moved to Monday Night Raw in the draft. And that's another thing I forgot to mention. Another thing. With the WWE draft coming, with the WWE draft coming in a couple weeks, all right, I don't know when I'm gonna do it. Either possibly next week or a couple days after Hell in a Cell. I will be doing a mock draft. All right, I'm gonna be doing a mock draft of the way I would do the draft, how I would draft the rosters. All right, I'm gonna probably have a list. It's gonna be pretty cool how I'm gonna have it set up. I'm probably gonna have like a tier list. I'm gonna have pictures of all the WWE superstars. Then I'm gonna have Raw and SmackDown, and then we're gonna drag, and then I'm gonna tell you guys how I would have the rosters set up. All right, it's gonna be a pretty long video, but hopefully you guys are excited about that. So be on the lookout for that. Probably next week. All right, probably next week. I don't know how it's gonna all work out because, like I said, Raw review Monday. Tuesday, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it on Tuesday, but I kind of want to wait till after Hell in a Cell to see, the new champions, see how WWE has everything set up before I do anything. All right, because next week is a big week. Like I said, we got the Raw review on Monday, Wednesday, Hell in a Cell predictions, SmackDown on Fox. We got the SmackDown on Fox review. Sunday we have Hell in a Cell with the live stream, the review. A lot to look forward to. So I don't know, all right, but there's a lot to look forward to, especially for all my WWE fans on this channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed. But anyway, back to the review. So Bryan and Eric Rowan have an intense match. I kind of like Eric Rowan's offense. He's very physical, very intense. I like that. I feel like we need more people that, because a lot of the superstars you see today, they're soft. Let's just say they're soft. They're not willing to put it all on the line in the ring. All right. We need poor people like Eric Rowan, like a Drew McIntyre, or people that are willing to get physical, that are not like Sasha Banks, that are not scared to get hurt in the ring. Right. Saw the image of Sasha on her Instagram story earlier today or last night. She walks out almost every single week with like a busted nose or a busted lip, some kind of scar from her previous match. And Sasha, last night, she had a busted lip. All right. Her lip was busted, a little bit swollen. But, hey, she got it all fixed up, and she was right back in the ring tonight, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. But this was a good match. I enjoyed it for what it was. Basically, Luke Harper came to ringside out of nowhere. He distracted Daniel Bryan, and basically Bryan tries to take Harper out with a suicide dive, classic Bryan. But think about it looked like it didn't phase. Luke Harper was legit down for only 5 seconds, and then he gets back up. All right, this basically distracts Bryan and sets up Eric Rowan hitting 2 Iron Claws for the win. All right, so afterwards, we see Roman Reigns come out, and he goes on the offensive, and we see another brawl between Roman, Bryan, and Harper and Rowan. And basically, this was all lead to afterwards. Bryan picks up a microphone after the brawl, and he basically challenges Harper and Rowan to face him and Roman at Hell in a Cell. Basically, what Bryan legit said verbatim. I'm gonna ask you guys, and I need a 1-word answer. Do you guys want to see me and Roman kick Harper and Rowan's disrespectful asses? That's what Bryan said verbatim. And basically, he said he wants a 1-word answer. Do you guys want to see that? The crowd goes like yes. So the yes movement is officially back. We'll probably see Bryan with a new t-shirt next week. The return of the yes movement. This basically solidifies it. Daniel Bryan is back as a babyface. And, I think Bryan's most likely going to get moved to Monday Night Raw in the draft. I think it would be a good change for him. I would love to see, I wouldn't mind seeing Bryan versus Styles again. We see Bryan versus Ricochet. See Daniel Bryan versus Robert Roode. See Bryan versus, The Fiend. Bryan versus Rey Mysterio. All right, there's a lot of good matches. That's all depending on if the brands stay the way they are right now. All right, but definitely, man. I liked this was a good start to SmackDown Live. You had a good physical match, and I didn't mind the segment afterwards. Bryan is officially back as a babyface, even though to be honest, he doesn't need to be babyface. All right, his heel turn is kind of random because there was rumors going around that they were still going to do Bryan versus Roman Reigns at some point. But it seems like WWE is moving in a different direction with these plans. Now with Bryan being babyface, and I expect Bryan and Roman to get split up in the draft, but we'll have to wait and see how that all goes up. So it's official: Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns against Luke Harper and Eric Rowan at Hell in a Cell. So good start to SmackDown Live. Afterwards, we had an interview with Kofi Kingston. This was Michael Cole interviewing him. Basically the same thing we saw last night on Monday Night Raw. Last night on Raw, we saw Michael Cole interview Becky Lynch about facing Sasha Banks inside Hell in a Cell for the Raw Women's Championship. And just tonight, we see it again with Michael Cole interviewing Kofi Kingston about his WWE Championship match that will be taking place on the SmackDown on Fox premiere next Friday. And, I was watching JD's review, and I agree. I like Michael Cole in this role. If you guys remember, a couple of years ago, I think it was 2015. Yeah, it was 2015. Michael Cole would do sit-down interviews weekly with WWE Superstars. At first, it was Triple H every single week because that was when, Triple H was, the face of Raw with the Authority, Seth Rollins, etc., everything that was going on with that. And then eventually he moved to doing weekly interviews with other superstars, no matter if it was AJ Styles or John Cena or Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks, etc., etc., etc. I like Michael Cole in this role. All right. The guy's a good interviewer. All right. He asks hard-hitting questions. He's not afraid to say anything. When it comes to hearing him on Monday Night Raw every single week, that's a different story. I can't stand Michael Cole hearing him for 3 hours. But I would not mind Michael Cole being in this backstage role. There are rumors saying that Michael Cole is most likely going to get moved to be the main announcer on SmackDown, with the move to SmackDown going to Fox next week. So most likely there's going to be a change on Monday Night Raw, which, I like because Raw needs a reboot. Raw needs a complete reboot. All right. WWE needs to use this draft. Use SmackDown moving to Fox. use Hell in a Cell to completely reboot their rosters, especially with AEW right just a couple weeks out. All right, even though AEW is most likely going to be going up against NXT each and every week with their weekly programming, still, I'm most likely going to be doing AEW reviews once AEW is officially on TNT in a couple weeks. But this back to the interview. Yes, Michael was interviewing Kofi Kingston. Kofi basically said that he was still confident. All right, he was going to remain confident. The main reason why he accepted the challenge is when he became WWE champion, he promised everybody he would be a fighting champion, and Kofi has been a fighting champion. This will most likely be the last SmackDown Live we see Kofi as WWE champion. I don't, as much as I would love to say Kofi's going to beat Brock, I know for a fact that that's not going to happen. All right. Brock's going to be solidified as the face of SmackDown next week when he wins the WWE Championship. It's easy as that. No other way to put it. All right. I don't know how Fox is going to feel about, the face of SmackDown and Fox being a part-time champion, which Brock Lesnar is. It's going to be interesting to see how Fox reacts to that, because we know Fox wants Brock Lesnar as much as possible, and there's no way we're going to see Brock each and every single week, but we'll have to wait and see. But, this was a good interview for Kofi. This was basically just done, even though Kofi got destroyed by Brock with that vicious F5 last week on SmackDown Live, this was supposed to keep Kofi fans and Kofi believers, hopeful that Kofi will come out on top next week on SmackDown Live. Or not SmackDown Live, SmackDown on Fox. It's going to take me a while to not say SmackDown Live and to call it the SmackDown on Fox. But, this was not a bad interview. This was just done. To, build Kofi up and hopefully make people believe that Kofi has a fighting chance against Brock. Next up, we had Chad Gable versus Mike Kanellis. All right, Mike Kanellis. And honestly, I didn't mind this segment at all. I like Chad Gable. He reminds me of a Rey Mysterio. Reminds me of Sami Zayn when Sami Zayn was babyface. Reminds me of Daniel Bryan with the Yes Movement. All right, Chad Gable is not on the level of those superstars, but each and every single week, Gable is getting a little more over with the crowd. They're clearly doing this underdog storyline with him, and I'm gonna come out and say, I would not mind Chad Gable defeating Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship. I think that's the way you should go with Chad Gable. Build him up as an underdog. Shinsuke has been pretty dominant as a heel, as he's been aligned with Sami Zayn as of late. I have no problem with the way Shinsuke is being booked. He's being booked strongly as an Intercontinental Champion like he should be. So why don't you do this? Build up Chad Gable. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do this at Survivor Series, but maybe, at TLC, the last pay-per-view of the year, maybe you build up Chad Gable and have Gable take the Intercontinental Championship from Shinsuke Nakamura. We'll have to wait for the draft to see how they go with all that. But hey, I would not mind that at all. I feel like that would be a smart direction for WWE to go. But back to what happened. Gable promised to make King Corbin pay for taking the low road in their Monday Night Raw match by defeating him next time. So they basically decided that there will be another match, a third match between Gable and Corbin. Will Gable finally get that victory over Corbin? I would love to see that. I would love to see Gable finally get that victory, so they can move along to something else. But we'll have to wait and see. Especially with Corbin being king of the ring, I don't know if they're going to have Corbin lose cleanly to Gable, but we'll have to wait and see. They had Mike Kanellis coming up. Mike Kanellis, basically interrupted this match to try to build or try to boost his own confidence. Or I'll just check in a message someone sent me. But Mike Kanellis interrupted this. Basically, Kanellis said that he made short jokes like everyone deals with Gable, and basically his whole point of being out there was he wanted to prove to his pregnant wife, Maria Kanellis, that he can be the man. So this set up a match between Gable and Kanellis. This was a quick match. Gable hit the release German suplex. then hits a rolling German before locking the ankle lock, making Canelo's tap. After the match, we see Elias, who we haven't seen in a couple weeks. We haven't seen Elias since, I believe, didn't Gable defeat Elias? No, my bad. Remember, it was supposed to be Gable versus Elias in the King of the Ring semifinals a couple weeks back, but I believe Elias was injured, so they replaced him with Shane McMahon. So now I guess they're going back to Elias and Gable, which I don't mind. It gives both superstars something to do. Elias basically interrupted Gable's celebration by doing a backstage song, making fun of Gable for being short. So this is going to set up a match between Gable and Elias. Probably, I don't know if it's going to be next week on Fox. It could be next week on Raw. We'll have to wait and see about that. Getting into it now, Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Carmella and Charlotte Flair. This was a good match. This was a short match, all right? This was not nearly nowhere as long as Sasha versus Nikki Cross from last week or last night on Raw. Last week on Raw, they had the 24/7 rules suspended for this match, so no one could attack Carmella during this match. But basically, and this I'm not gonna say this confirms, but it clearly looks like WWE so Daniel Bryan turned babyface tonight. It looks like they're also going on the same route with Charlotte. Charlotte's acting more and more like a babyface each and every week, but it looks like she's not fully babyface yet. But it looks like they definitely are. It looks like they're trying to turn Charlotte back into a babyface. But basically, Carmella looked pretty good in this match. I like to see Carmella be able to go head-to-head with 3 of the 4 horsewomen. And like I've said, when Carmella was heel and when she was SmackDown Women's Champion, she was cringe. All right, and they didn't make her, even though they had her defeat Asuka and they had her defeat Charlotte. I think they had her defeat Charlotte once, they had her defeat Charlotte once. Still, Carmella was just cringe at that time. But after that, they turned Carmella babyface, and she actually proved she could have some good matches. Carmella is actually pretty underrated in the women's division. Right, she can definitely wrestle. Maybe one day, if she's booked correctly, maybe one day you can make me believe in a Carmella championship reign. And this time I'll actually care about it. But Carmella did her best, but still, you could tell Carmella and Charlotte, this was the first time they ever tag teamed together. They weren't on the same page. Sasha and Bayley did a good job of keeping Carmella isolated. Charlotte gets in to the match. She does her comeback move. But then Carmella tagged herself back in, which looked like it kind of angered Charlotte a little bit. Charlotte was watching from the outside of the ring. But basically, Carmella, she hits a couple of super kicks on Bayley. She hit like 3 super kicks on Sasha. But she went for a move. I think it was a roll-up. But then Sasha makes with another beautiful transition to the big statement. It seems like each and every single week we're seeing Sasha come with more unique bank statement transitions. I absolutely love it. And Sasha makes Carmella tap out. So Sasha getting some very good victories under her belt. She defeated Nikki Cross last week on Raw. She defeated Nikki Cross her and Bayley technically defeated Bliss and Nikki on Raw last week in tag team action when Sasha made Nikki tap out. Again tonight on Raw, or last night on Raw, we saw Sasha make Nikki tap out in one-on-one action. And again tonight, clean, we see Sasha make Carmella tap out. I actually enjoyed this match. It was short. It was only like 5-6 minutes. It wasn't a long match, but the action was good and intense for the duration that it went. And I didn't mind it. After the match, we see, and this was the one problem. This was one of the big problems I had with this show. This was absolutely garbage, and I tweeted this out afterwards. The same thing they did with R-Truth and the 15 times he held the 24/7 championship. They're doing now with Carmella. All right? It seems like now with the 24/7 championship, they're focusing more on the women's side. Because the 24/7 championship, it can be defended by anybody. The problem I'm having, they had after the match, we see the women's locker room. They come out there. They're running after Carmella. Carmella, who is kind of unconscious. She's not all the way there. We see R-Truth put Carmella on her shoulders and carry her out of the arena. But guess who they had freaking following her? They had Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, which I don't really care about. I don't really care about Dana Brooke. They had. This is where it gets me pissed off the most. They had Ember Moon, Asuka, and Kairi Sane chasing after Carmella's 24/7 championship. Are you kidding me? Really? Really? And you guys can tell how my voice is getting louder. You guys can tell. This is where I get pissed off. For the most part, SmackDown was a good show tonight. But this pissed me off. You just buried your entire women's division. You just basically said people like Asuka, Kairi Sane, Sonya Deville, Ember Moon, some of the most talented superstars in your division, some of them that most of the time are sitting and catering. All right, you just basically said this is our catering squad. Last night on Raw, you had the Iconics and I don't know who else, Sarah Logan, Tamina chasing after, what's her name? Carmella. This is basically the catering squad. And you don't tell me that the women's division is buried. You have Asuka, one of the most dominant women's champions, one of the most dominant women's champions of all time. All right, probably the best NXT women's champion of all time with an over 540-day reign. You have her, Ember Moon, one of the best overall performers in the women's division, who is underrated, who is not booked correctly. These are the superstars you have chasing after the 24/7 championship. You know how much I wanted to throw up when I saw that? Instead of booking these women in competition each and every week, instead of building these women up to be challengers for Sasha, for Becky. I understand that the 4 horsewomen, they're the faces of your women's division. I understand that. I truly do. I understand that this whole women's revolution, this whole women's era, this whole women's division on both Raw and SmackDown, it's run by Sasha, it's run by Bayley, it's run by Becky, it's run by Charlotte. They're the 4 main stars. I understand that. But when you only focus your women's division on 4, maybe 5 people at most, because, we see Alexa Bliss almost every week. I could not imagine one day having to see Sasha or Becky or Bayley or Charlotte running after the 24/7 title. If I ever saw that, I would who knows what I would do? I probably wouldn't watch WWE again. I probably wouldn't. Because that would be a spit in the face. A spit in the face to not only me, but those women who have busted their asses for this company. The 24/7 title is a joke. It's a joke. I don't mind the title if you're doing stuff on YouTube with it. Those like, having it defended at a golf course or having it defended at a museum or whatever. But the fact that you had Asuka, Kairi Sane, Ember Moon, superstars like that running after the 24/7 championship, really? Instead of booking them in matches, you have them running after the 24/7 championship, looking like complete fools, looking like complete jokes. And speaking of which, where the hell is Naomi? All right, Naomi is not a bad performer. Somebody that you can use in your women's division. Like, come on. Make sense, WWE. Please, make some common sense. That was absolute garbage what they did tonight. Absolute garbage. Having Asuka and Ember Moon running after the 24/7 championship. What a complete joke. But moving on. We had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Mustafa Ali. This was basically a rematch of what happened last week. You guys remember last week, Ali versus Nakamura, they had a good match. But Sami Zayn got interrupted into the match. And basically, this was almost the same match we saw last week. But it was a good match. I'm not going to sit here and lie. It was a good TV show match. But it was basically the same thing we saw last week. Ali did everything he could to not get distracted by Sami Zayn and focused on Nakamura. But at the end, we see basically Ali had Nakamura beat. He was about to hit him with the 450 splash, but at the last moment, we see Sami pull Nakamura outside the ring. Ali, in that moment, instead of focusing his attack back on Nakamura, he goes after Sami Zayn, and he chases after Sami Zayn around the ring, runs into the ring, and runs right into a devastating Kinshasa by Nakamura. Nakamura gets the victory. All right. Oh, and speaking of which, I forgot to mention on the women's side, really quick. Becky Lynch showed up tonight. After that whole 24/7 championship garbage, we saw Sasha, and Becky. I mean, not Becky. Sasha and Bailey. They cornered Charlotte. Charlotte tries to fight them off, but Sasha hits Charlotte with the knees to the back, the backstabber. But we see Becky Lynch come out, and Becky Lynch fights off Sasha and Bailey again. And at this point, I'm like, how many times are we going to see? I understand, yes, you can't make Sasha and Bailey look strong every single week. All right, that doesn't make sense. You can't always have them looking strong, but how many times do we have to see Becky? This is maybe the third time we've seen Becky look stronger than Sasha and Bailey. And at first, I was I wasn't terribly angry at this. All right, I wasn't super angry at this, but based after what we saw at the end of the show, I was like, okay, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes, and we'll talk about what happens at the end of the show between Sasha and Becky in a little bit. But also, one thing that was announced tonight, it was announced that next week on SmackDown on Fox's premiere, not only are we going to get Becky Lynch. Not Becky Lynch. Not only are we going to get Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship, we are going to be getting Sasha Banks and Bayley against Charlotte and Becky Lynch in tag team action. Basically, a rematch of the great match, the great tag team match we saw these four women have in Madison Square Garden just a couple weeks ago. And remember, this will be taking place 2 days before Hell in a Cell. So this will be a chance to get some big momentum. Bayley and Bayley's opponent for Hell in a Cell has not yet been revealed, but all signs point it's going to be Charlotte. I saw something on Twitter tonight saying, "Oh, we're going to see Sasha and Bayley face Charlotte and Becky inside Hell in a Cell, winner take all." But clearly, if they're doing a tag team match next week, then that's not the direction they're going for, and that's the direction they shouldn't be going for. All right, it needs to stay Sasha versus Becky at Hell in a Cell. All right, but I don't mind that. It's going to be a barn burner. Sasha, Becky, Bayley, and Charlotte, they're going to tear the house down like they always do. I think it will probably be a better match than Brock versus Kofi, but, we'll have to wait and see. But the only thing I'll say about that is Sasha and Bayley have to win this match. All right, and I know what people are going to say. Usually when a duo, usually the person that wins a match or looks strong coming out of a go-home shoot, that usually leads to them losing at the pay-per-view. But in this situation, especially with Becky most likely being moved to SmackDown Live, and she's probably going to drop the title to Sasha, all right, Sasha and Bayley need this victory because the last time these two met at Madison Square Garden, Charlotte pinned Bayley, getting the win. Charlotte and Becky beating both Sasha and Bayley. Now it's time to flip the switch. All right. I don't know how you're going to do it unless you have – I can't imagine them having Becky being pinned clean before Hell in a Cell, and you can't have Sasha looking weak going to the show. So unless they plan to have Sasha make Charlotte tap out or have, maybe Bayley defeat Charlotte, I don't know how they're going to do it. But Sasha and Becky not Sasha and Becky. I keep saying that. Sasha and Bayley need to be looking strong coming out of this because Hell in a Cell, Sasha has to be Becky. Has to be Becky. No, Sasha has to be Becky. It's that simple. We'll leave it at that. Sasha has to be Becky at Hell in a Cell. All right. But I was just a quick thing I was thinking. I'm thinking about if Sasha is going to be the face of the Raw Women's division coming out of Hell in a Cell, how do you structure these divisions? I think Becky and Bayley are going to be feuding most likely on SmackDown on Fox, unless they plan to move Charlotte over to Raw. Maybe that's what they're gonna do. I would also like to see maybe Asuka, Kairi Sane move over to Raw, giving Sasha more opponents. I'm on the bet they'll probably keep Alexa there, just because. Um, but we'll have to wait and see how they go with that. But we'll discuss that all when we do our mock draft in the next couple of weeks before the real draft on Friday. But this was um all right, I just had to answer that text message. But I like this. I really do. I'm actually excited. But moving on after this, we had the New Day versus the B team. This was a quick match. Right now, the Revival. We haven't seen the Revival since Clash of Champions, so I don't know what their plan is. This was a very quick match. I didn't really care about this match too much. I don't care about the B team. I love the New Day. I don't know if they're going to be doing a rematch between the New Day and the Revival at Hell in a Cell. That would probably make the most sense. But we'll have to wait and see if that's announced next week. That probably will be announced next week. But we had basically, I keep saying but they hit. The New Day hit the midnight hour on Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, and that's the way the match ended. Quick win for the New Day. Didn't really do anything for me. This was a squash match, really. It was just a quick match, basically the pastime. Afterwards, we see the New Day celebrating with I forget the tight end of the San Francisco 49ers. I forget his name. It is what it is. Next up, we had Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville versus Asuka and Kairi Sane. It was good to see Asuka and Kairi Sane. We haven't seen these two. I don't think this is their first match since they lost to Alexa and Nikki for the Women's Tag Team Championships. I don't know if they're building these two back up for another match between Alexa and Nikki, because I think they're going to do a match between Sasha and Bayley against those two eventually, but we'll have to wait and see. This wasn't a bad match at all. It is what it is. But the reason, there was a little bit of sloppiness, but this was mostly because, Mandy Rose, she's not all the way there yet. She gets better each and every week, but she's not there yet. She was basically taking the lead throughout the match, and basically, they had her promoting her new magazine, how she was on the magazine cover. She was on the cover of Maxim magazine. It is what it is. Don't really care much, but it is what it is. But yes, then moving into the end of the show, we had Kevin Owens. Basically Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon talk about this whole lawsuit situation. I'm not gonna get into that because it's pretty stupid. I don't really care much about this Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon bullshit. I'm just trying to be honest with you guys. I don't really care. But the way they set this up is, Shane McMahon gave Kevin Owens two options. Either he could drop the lawsuit and be, I forget what he specifically said. Basically, yeah, Shane tried to backpedal on his comments. And basically, he said if Kevin Owens drops the lawsuit, he'll reinstate KO. But a bunch of other things. I forget what the hell he said. No, yeah. Shane basically said if KO dropped the lawsuit, he would reinstate him and remove the fine. But KO wasn't having it. All right. KO gave the best in the world an ultimatum. He basically said he wanted to hurt Shane. He said he wanted to hurt Shane really badly. And basically, the way he put it is he basically sets us up for a ladder match. A ladder match between Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon for Hell in a Cell. And the way they're going to have it is they're going to have a briefcase with both their contracts in it, and the winner gets it. Whoever loses the match will be fired from WWE. So I'm willing to bet this KO has to win this match, unless they're planning to send him back down to NXT. The way I see this going, KO's going to win this match. This is going to be the way that they finally get Shane McMahon off WWE TV for the foreseeable future. I'm on the bet Shane will eventually come back. eventually somewhere down the line, because there's no way they're actually going to fire him. But KO's just re-signed with WWE for a 5-year contract a couple months ago, so there's no way KO's actually getting fired. KO's going to win this match. That's it. A ladder match, I thought for a second there I got scared. That they were going to announce a Hell in a Cell match. We've seen KO versus Shane inside Hell in a Cell before. So a couple years ago, remember when KO was the heel and Shane was the babyface? Now the roles are reversed. But they announced a ladder match, which we don't see a lot. We don't see a lot of ladder matches outside of the Money in the Bank ladder match. So I can get behind it. We'll have to wait and see what they have planned. But I don't really care about this feud. Maybe the match would be good. I expect KO to win. But that was not the actual way SmackDown Live went off the air. With about 2-3 minutes left, we see Becky Lynch getting interviewed backstage, and we see she talks about Sasha. And I knew from the second they did this interview where they were going. Basically, Becky's giving the interview, and out of nowhere, Sasha Banks attacks her. All right, and they brawl for a little bit. Becky throws Sasha into a couple of crates, but Sasha does the same thing back, and then Sasha gets the upper hand on Becky. Then Sasha takes Becky Lynch's face and throws her into the steel. Just absolutely just rubbing her face into the steel, basically giving a preview. I love the symbolism, because Sasha's been inside Hell in a Cell. Becky hasn't. So Sasha's like, yes, here's a preview for Hell in a Cell. This is what you're gonna feel when I have you all to myself inside that cell at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. All right, I love it. And then Sasha Banks, as she's putting Becky Lynch's face into the cell, Sasha's going like, I'm the boss. I'm the standard. You're nothing. I love this. Is the way Sasha Banks has to be booked. This is how you book Sasha Banks. She's the best female wrestler in the world. I absolutely love the way they did the ending of SmackDown Live tonight. All right, this is your main event for Hell in a Cell. In my opinion, Sasha versus Becky should be the main event for Hell in a Cell, even though it's most likely going to be The Fiend versus Seth Rollins. But the way this feud has been booked, this is the way you book Sasha and Becky. This is the way you make Sasha look strong, and you position Sasha to be the face of Monday Night Raw after the WWE draft. This is what you do. I absolutely loved the ending to the show tonight. Sasha standing over Becky Lynch. I love it, and that's what's going to happen at Hell in a Cell. Sasha is going to defeat Becky Lynch, become Raw Women's Champion, and become the face of Monday Night Raw's Women's Division, the way it should be. All right? That's about it. That's about it for the SmackDown Live review. Good show tonight. There was a couple of things I didn't like, but overall, a good show. All right. Most likely, I'm going to do a video in the next couple of days talking about the history of SmackDown Live and my thoughts on it. So make sure to look out for that. Probably either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on when I have time, my schedule. All right. If you guys haven't yet, check out the Monday Night Raw review. If you guys also haven't yet, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, enable notifications by clicking the bell right next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Yeah, all right. Next week's gonna be a busy week. As always, follow me on social media for all updates: Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. You guys know the deal with that. Next week's gonna be a busy week. Comic-Con, Raw review. We're getting SmackDown on Fox, Hell in a Cell prediction show. Well, I'm probably missing a couple other things, but overall, good show tonight. We got the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view on that Sunday, a week and a half from now. We got the live stream, the reaction, the review. So a lot to look forward to. So if you guys are not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. Thank you guys for all the support. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you guys later this week. Have a great night, guys. Peace.